All right, dude, I'm going to start off with some of the reviews I got because we're also talking about Molly's Game, the latest from Jessica Chastain and Idris Elba, in kind of a sleeper under the radar movie that released at the very, very end, the tail end, the ass crack of 2017, and was actually pretty daggone good. And then, of course, there's, of all things to be released, like late, outside of contention for the Oscars, and I can't imagine why, Jumanji, starring Kevin Hart and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. But believe it or not, there's actually a good amount to say about this. I'll jump into that one in a few. But first, I want to ask, does anyone in the house play poker? Yes, DJ Herb and I. And I guess no one else? We're alone in this? No? Okay,
I mean, I know how to play poker.
That's not the same.
It's not my game of choice.
I've played poker. I don't actively play poker.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I know Herb plays poker. I've seen him at the meetings. But we're talking about Molly's Game, actually based on a true story. Movie starring Jessica Chastain and Idris Elba. There's a couple more names here I really wanted to throw out too because I was pretty impressed with this cast. That no one really, well, the movie itself was kind of poorly advertised. Honestly, I didn't start seeing trailers for this until like a week before it came out, and I'm very surprised because a movie with Idris Elba you'd think would carry a lot more weight, a lot more. They'd want to push that as early as possible, as often as possible, because it was just damned interesting, man. I enjoyed the crap out of it, and I am ashamed of the studio for not pushing a movie like this harder because Molly's Game was really good. Cool. The movie's the story of actually I'll break it down God dang it, I shouldn't chew gum on the air. I do anyways. But no, it's just the proper breakdown is the true story of Molly Bloom, a beautiful young Olympic-class skier who ran the world's most exclusive high-stakes poker game for a decade before being arrested in the middle of the night by 17 agents wielding automatic weapons. And that's a really poorly laid out statement, but it's basically saying that's very true. Molly Bloom, the woman who the story is about, was an Olympic-class skier. And not just like solo, but from a family of Olympic-class skiers. So she had juice and was a legacy with drive and promise, and through a tragic accident. And the way it's laid out here, you really see the inside of what happened. And it was complete BS, the way her Olympic skiing career was ended, which is very unfortunate. But then getting back onto her feet and somehow falling face first into the world of underground poker. And it turned out to be just this really crazy story that I honestly enjoyed. And not just as a poker player, but it's just really interesting to see how this type of story, which is essentially just a biography of somebody. I was an athlete, now I'm not. You think, oh, I guess they got into drugs, or maybe they got hit the sauce too hard, or maybe they had like family problems and then ended up beating their spouse or something. Like none of that. It actually proves to be circumstance after circumstance after circumstance, and just a ridiculous series of coincidences that was all true, and introduced her to some good people and far more like terrible people. And in a story where you can do everything right and still everything blows up in your face, that's a really interesting story that I want to check out, and that was Molly's Game. So I got to call out, first of all, the acting of Idris Elba, which everyone expects to be great and was great. The acting of Jessica Chastain, who I think if this movie was released at a different time, and I'm not sure why they chose to wait till late December and the year to release it, I can surmise as to maybe it was just up against a few other top contenders this year, but I still think I did it a disservice because I think she may have been up for an award for a performance in this. There's several scenes where she gives some real emotion coming through, and you believe it. And also, I love how she gets into the character and really represents that sense of this is somebody who's learned from a world of manipulation and is able to use those skills. And even when she's purely innocent, she can't turn it off. So it always seems like she's manipulating you here, manipulating you there, when no, she's just really trying to be truthful and emotionally expressive. But you're just like, yeah, but I saw you last scene. Come on now. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I see you crying, but I don't know. Yeah, you're able to fake that pretty well. It's like, I see you tapping your foot. I knew it. Basically, she got tells. Is what I'm getting at. I was damned impressed. I want to also poll the group here, because is anyone familiar with the work of Michael Cera?
No.
No?
But like
Michael Cera.
Like from like Arrested Development?
From Arrested Development,
and
from
Twin
Superbad.
And that ridiculous cameo in Twin Peaks?
Yes, that guy. Yeah, the guy with the nose and the hair, mostly the nose.
Yep.
The mumbling guy with the nose.
Yep.
And had a great performance in This Is the End.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because anyone's seen that one. If a lot of people hate Michael Cera. A lot of people don't like Michael Cera because, and it's not that he's a bad actor. I actually really like his acting, and I think he gets the short end of the stick a lot of times because most of the roles that he's given that he wins is a more mumbly, kind of a repressed character. You know, he's not really like in your face and that I think has detrimented his public image because I like the guy.
Scott Pilgrim versus the world was great.
Scott Pilgrim being one of the few exceptions. Yeah, people really liked him in that, and I think it was a role that he was pretty much perfect for. Now, Scott Pilgrim aside, people don't like Michael Cera, and in this movie, he really plays up to that, and just an angry bastard of a role, and you hate him in this movie, which is great because he plays it perfectly. And apparently, from interviews and behind the scenes accounts of the research for this picture, Molly's Game, the guy that it was actually based on is one of the few people that was called out in Molly Bloom's testimony before the FBI, and I believe was named in the book. Because only a few people were named in the book. A few celebrities, Ben Affleck, Tobey Maguire, a few other people. The guy is very loosely alluded to in this movie because he really was as bad as he's presented in the book. And real names aren't given. The only real name that Molly gives in the book is her own real name. In the movie that's given is her own real name as well because she wrote the book. It's about her. You can't really say, "Oh, you know, I have a reasonable doubt." No, none of that. But I was hurt to hear that the actual actor that Michael Cera is supposedly based on is actually like that. But Molly's isn't the only person with stories like that, including other actors and stuff. You know, I'm going to go ahead and say, why not Tobey Maguire? Of all people,
I believe it.
I believe it too. I believe it too.
But he's also like a card shark.
I believe that.
You believe it?
I do believe it because there's something behind his eyes that's cold. You know,
Spider-Man.
But like
he was okay. Have you ever seen the Cider House Rules?
Yeah, I was just gonna say Cider House Rules.
You tell me that young man,
yes,
that upright. Regular citizen?
Yes, there's like a sociopath streak in there. I see it, man. I don't know. There's an aura thing. I don't know. There's something about him that like I always got this like that guy could be a real piece of work.
I'd let this guy walk my grandma across the street and to church on Sundays and stuff, man.
Sure, but then you look and your grandma doesn't have any money in her wallet. Damn. He was smiling the whole time.
Well, it's Nana's own fault for playing poker with the guy. She should have just said no.
Yeah,
that's called the Pee Wee Herman effect.
The Pee Wee Herman effect?
Yeah.
well, you mean Paul Rubens, right? Pee Wee Herman was kind of a.
I'm talking about Toby. That look that both of them have, right? This
like,
innocent sort of. Oh, you could trust them, but all of a sudden they're stealing or doing stuff in the theater.
Well, I get what you're saying. There's got to be a better name for that. I like Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah,
and Tobey Maguire has that like pumpkin pie haircut there with the.
Plus, I got a little more respect for a total pervert than for like a total sociopath. I don't know. That's like.
Wow! Whoa! Learning a lot about meth today.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Wait. What does that say? But what does that say when we're friends?
Wink.
Oh man.
Oh. Well, it means you're not a sociopath.
That's what it means.
That's what it means.
Thank you for churching it up a bit. A little of me was about to die on air today.
Looking out, man.
But that does not change the fact that Molly's Game is a very good movie. I'm really impressed with the level of detail that they showed too, because it's not a short movie. It's a long movie, and they take their time to present everything and then present properly. I really thought it was well done, and you don't notice the time passing by until you realize I've been in here for like 2 hours, and everything is played out from her stint in the Olympics and training for it, and her father just really just beating on her that second place is the first loser type stuff, It's played by that part is played by Kevin Costner, who, I mean, we're not all crazy about Dancing with Wolves there, but he's not in this picture much, and he did a good job as just the overbearing father when he was on screen.
What's wrong with Dances with Wolves?
I can see that.
Man, really?
Yeah.
Dance with Wolves sucks.
It does suck.
Dance with
ridiculous story about these proud Native Americans being saved by the one white guy who managed to get lost in the frontier.
Yeah,
that part's stupid. But
totally sucks.
Yes, it is.
Avatar did that better anyway.
Oh, jeez. And then I don't want to lose my legs, so what's going on is I'm going to scalp a bunch of. And okay, not just the acting and the performance, the story itself for whatever the hell reasons, like, okay, we're going to present this story about cultures meeting and coinciding, finding a way to coexist, even though eventually one of them is going to dominate the other one. At this time, we're going to find common ground, and this could be a really beautiful story about, tolerance and understanding and different cultures coming together and in peaceful forms from times of war. Instead, how do you present it? Well, they're going to be these savages that cut people open and scalp them on scenes, and no one listens to pleas, and the white flag means nothing, and all this horrible stuff. And then we're going to paint the invading armies as these heroes who are just there in a bad situation, but what they got to do is they got to survive, you see. And how do they do that? They kill off these horrible savages. And then once Kevin Costner comes in, suddenly he's the beacon that shows I've got integrity and I've got cojones and I can face an enemy army, so hence you should trust me, and then I'm going to screw your daughter. And then I'm like, dude, where did all this come from? This was pushed to me as I don't know, kind of like a Last of the Mohicans thing. I understand these cultures and I'm going to help you understand them, and we're all going to come together. And it was really, this is what
you're giving credit to Last of the Mohicans. That's
a pretty horrible movie itself, but it's better than Dancing with Wolves.
It's based on a decent, not great, but decent American novel.
Yeah, look at it this way. If I can put it in perspective, okay, if Last of the Mohicans is Twilight, then Dances with Wolves is 50 Shades of Grey, the Twilight fan fiction that just went horribly awry. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So neither one started off too high up there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. How do we on Molly's game?
I actually I like that. That analogy made sense really to me. I dig that. Yeah.
Well, thank you. But we've gotten so far off the point of Molly's game here. I mentioned the acting because I was damned impressed with everybody. And Tobey Maguire's. I'm sorry. I did not say that. And Michael Cera is an actor that I don't really expect too much range from. But normally he plays really likable guys that you just, for some reason, don't like because of some characteristic they carry. In this one, he's playing somebody who he runs that subterfuge on you, where it's like he seems just kind of like an innocent guy. Hey, I'm here. I play the game. Maybe I want to help out. I've got connections. Let me see if I can call someone for you. And then he's slowly taking over, and it's like criminal activity. And he's just hateful, and you love him for it because he does real world stuff, which, I guess I can't attribute too much to Michael Cera if this was really what the actor in question did. Things like he's going to this poker game, and once he realizes he's become the driving force in this game, people want to play with him. They want to say they were in the room with a celebrity. So now he's got juice. So it's like, I want to make sure things are run a little more fair. So I'm going to bring in my own card counting machine to make sure that the shuffles are fair. And I'm going to charge you to rent them because it's still my property, being introduced into this public game. So he does like little things like that. He introduces people who he has influence over into the game, which is not technically illegal, but highly unethical.
Super shady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's a great tactic, though. If you're having other players that are under your control, that increases your chances of.
And also the tactics of a sociopath.
Yes,
I knew it. That Spider-Man is a menace.
All right. Well, Johnny's showing his true colors here. Idris Elba plays her attorney in this. Great performance by Idris Elba. He's doing that that American accent, but far better than he did in not Pacific Rim. What was it? In Prometheus, because he had some weird country
fantastic movie
thing going on. Stop it right now. You desist. He does a decent American accent, especially when you hear how British he actually is. It was not. It really is. It was not jarring though, which I really liked, and I liked Idris Elba in this. He was a nice addition, and a couple of random things are thrown in that you would never expect. It turns out to be a heartwarming story, and Molly is, albeit somewhat someone who's persevered in a shady field, she shows integrity. She has her own code of ethics that she never violates, even when it would be opportunistic to her to do so. And the whole thing is presented with care, and it's well paced. The acting was spot on. I'm a little upset that it didn't get more push beforehand, and it's, I think, already almost been all but forgotten about by now, and it's only been in theaters maybe 3 weeks, but the movie is called Molly's Game. It's still playing in your local theaters. It probably will be playing in indie theaters for a little while. Check it out. It stars Jessica Chastain, Idris Elba, and Kevin Costner, of course, Michael Cera, several other people. Dude, it was just...
Is that Chris O'Dowd?
I'm sorry?
Is that Chris O'Dowd from
Yes, it
IT
is.
crowd.
Yes, it is. Chris O'Dowd plays a very interesting role.
I love Chris O'Dowd.
He's he's kind of lovable in this one.
Cool.
You won't like him, but he's still kind of
All right.
lovable. All right, so moving on. Oh, I gotta stop. I'm sorry, Herb. I hit the mic.
What's the thumbs on this?
Oh, thumbs up. My bad. That is that is a definite thumbs up.
There we go.
All right, so now let's talk about Jumanji.